What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Northeast Kayak Fishing TV. I'm Justin Lacasse, and this is the sixth video in a 6-video series of the top 6 rods that I take with me on my kayak. These rods are always with me when I go out. I can carry anywhere from 0 rods, really. I can carry from 0 rods to 14 rods I can take with me. If you see me with 14 rods on the water, that means I have no clue as to what's going on. 6 is what I try to shoot for. When I go out and practice, I will bring probably 10 to 12 rods with me. On tournament day, I like to go with 6. I like to be able to narrow it down to these 6 rods right here. These are the 6 rods I want to take with me. It doesn't always work out that way, but these 6 rods will always be with me because I know that these 6 rods can handle pretty much everything that I throw, and pretty much anything I think anybody throws, really. We've had everything from spinning rod to cranking rod in this series, and this is the last rod of the series, and this is my favorite rod. As you can see, it's a frog rod. This is 7-foot heavy plus moderate fast action. So what that means is down here it's a broomstick. It's light, but down here this is a broomstick. Up here it has a moderate fast action, which means it has more of a parabolic bend to it. Let them swallow that frog, and so you're not ripping it away from them when you're trying to get them out of heavy cover like lily pads, matted grass, things like that, where you would be throwing a frog. In my opinion, this is the best frog rod ever made. It's the best one I've ever used, and I've used a lot of rods. This is the best frog rod I have ever used. It's the perfect length for me. It is the perfect weight for me. When you're throwing a frog, you're throwing it for hours on end. I mean, you're making hundreds and hundreds of casts, covering a ton of water. So, I mean, you don't want it to be super heavy, and it's balanced great, so it's not, the rod tip's not always dipping down. You can really hold that rod tip up where it needs to be, so you can drop down when you see that blow up and let them swallow it and bring it back on that real hard hook set. With that parabolic bend, it loads up really nice, and you can usually get those fish right up on top of the vegetation with a loose speed spool. I like to throw 6.8 to 1. I'm pretty much on everything that I throw, other than my flipping stuff. 6.8 to 1 is usually what I'm throwing. I choose a loose speed spool because the amount of reels that I buy, it's cost effective and it's a great proven reel. Are there reels in the Lose lineup that are better? Yes, absolutely. Are there ones that are lighter? Yes, absolutely. But the speed spool seems to be the middle of the road, where durability and price just make that perfect match. The wind grips, the FX wind grips, exclusive for FX. Again, the 40-ton carbon fiber, graphite. It's exclusive for FX rod blanks. They own the weave. It's not a rebranded blank. They use all Fuji components, 100% graphite reel seat, no extra foam or tape or anything on the components to take away from vibration. All around great rods with a lifetime warranty. You can't go wrong with these rods. I've been using FX Extreme Angler Series rods for 4 or 5 years, and I don't plan on fishing with anything else. Every single rod that I own is an FX rod. I mean, even my kids have FX rods. So that's, I mean, and I know I'm going to get in the comments, oh, that's because you're sponsored by them. Yes and no. Of course, yes, that's what I use because I was sponsored by them, but I used them before I was sponsored by them. And after using them so much, I realized that I should replace all of my rods with FX rods because they're a fantastic product, a good company to be partnered with, that stands behind their product, and they do whatever they can to help you out. I choose to throw a Stanley Top Toad pretty much exclusively. I have hollow body frogs, but a Stanley Top Toad can be fished so many different ways. You can fish it like a hollow body where you're just twitching. It doesn't walk the dog very well. You could get it to happen sometimes by accident, but it doesn't really walk the dog. So that's about the only thing that it can't do. But you can twitch and pause, rip. You get the paddle feet to bubble the water a little bit, or you can just rip it like a buzz bait across the top of the water. It all depends on what the fish want. I fish it all those certain ways. And I do use hollow bodies here and there, but when I first start throwing a frog, it's going to be a Stanley Top Toad with a Stanley double take hook. They have them, I use the 5/0, and they also have them with a weight on the belly, so for the real heavy cover. If the frog doesn't seem to be causing a vibration on the water because the cover is so thick, you can throw the weighted one. It'll help it sit a little lower in the water, cause some vibration, and have them come up and whack at it. But other than that, that is my frog setup. 50-pound Suffix 832 braid. A lot of guys use 65. I've never found a need to use 65. I've been fishing probably 35 years. So I've never used anything over 50 pound. I've never had a fish break me off on a frog, ever. I've never had 50-pound braid break on me, ever. If I get snagged, I have to go to where I'm snagged to get it off, to either cut the line off or to reach down there and get my whatever lure that's stuck on a log or a lily pad stalk or whatever. I have to go over there and physically take it off. I've never snapped a 50-pound braid. Anybody who snaps 50-pound braid, I don't know how. I really don't know how. So 65 just doesn't make sense to me. But that is my frog setup and the 6 setup in this series. So if you watched all 6 of these videos, I know they're not super entertaining. It's just about rod setups. Thank you very much, because it was kind of boring actually filming these. But I figured if people are getting into it and they can only fit 6 rods, or maybe they can only fit 5 rods, maybe 4 or 5 of these rods will work out for them. And like I said, you can get any of these 6 rods plus many more on fxcustomrods.com. And if you could throw Justin Lacasse in the pro staff box if you decide to order anything, that would be much appreciated. And also, if you order before Christmas 2021, you're going to save 20%. So get on there, hurry up, and maybe it'll be under the Christmas tree if you order it quick enough. Thanks for watching the series.